everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how you can help your dog with anxiety through lessons I've learned myself with trial and error with Nugs, and also through scientifically proved methods. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, please keep on watching. So I guess I'll just give you some quick background on my adoption story with Nugget. She was advertised, I don't know if that's the right word, but she was advertised as a red heeler crossed with an Irish Wolfhound, and they believed at the time that she was 4 months old, with the charity that I adopted her from. When I met her, I instantly realised, this is a good way to indicate the age of your dog. Her teeth were fully grown, however they did not have any plaque on them, so she wasn't too old, but she also wasn't a puppy. And she had fully grown into her paws. Her paws didn't look too big for her, or they didn't look out of proportion to the rest of her. So I knew from there that she was fully grown, but I wouldn't say she was any older than 14 months, I hope. So the main signs that I saw with Nugs to show that she was anxious were that her ears were constantly flat against the back of her head. Her pupils were dilated often. She would often crouch low to the ground or sometimes completely drop to the ground. So my very first training method I did with Nugs to reduce her anxiety was to counter condition her fear of cars. She came from a shelter in Tamworth. Unfortunately, where she came from, they don't really have a respect for animals there. So the shelter from which she was rescued from, they would often just shoot their dogs if they were overwhelmed. So the charity I adopted her from would adopt them from those shelters. So she may have had some pretty bad experiences with transportation, which is perhaps why her fear arose of cars. So I wanted to counter condition that fear. So this is a scientifically proven method. I didn't actually know it was what I was doing at the time, but whenever my first step was to, whenever she was in a car, I would give her a treat. So the very first time I tried to get her into the car when I adopted her, she tried to slip her collar, tried to run away, and I had to carry her into the car. I sat in the back with her, my mum was driving. She came with me, and she curled up next to me. Once she was there, she was okay, but I was patting her the whole time, talking to her, soothing her, and giving her treats. And then I ensured that every time that she went in the car from that point onwards was for to go somewhere good. Like I would take her to the park or take her to the beach. So counter conditioning is really a focus on turning a negative feeling into a positive one, and the best way you can do that with your dog is to give it a treat, because it's always going to associate food as a positive, especially shelter dogs, because often you'll find they're malnourished, emaciated, or have not even just had nice treats, because shelters can't really afford really yummy treats. So if you get something special for them, it'll be like this, wow, like this whole new experience. So counter conditioning is a really great method. Another method that you can use, particularly if you find your dog is anxious before you leave, is disassociation. So dogs find cues to show that you're about to leave. So it might be the sound of you picking up your keys, or the smell of your perfume. It might be the sound of you picking up your bag. So what you need to do is, when you're at home and you're not leaving, pick up your keys and just walk around with them and pick them up again, for 15 to 20 minutes, or spray your perfume, and don't leave the house, and your dog will eventually disassociate that cue with you leaving. Another method is habituation. I personally don't agree with this method, and I don't think it works. I've tried it with Nugs. She becomes anxious if she is not in the same room as me, and becomes especially anxious if she is left at home alone. So I tried to teach her that I could be in another room and it was okay. So I would close the door and not let her in, and I would try to ignore her for 15 to 30 minutes. So that's what habituation is about. It's about ignoring your dog. So if you're about to leave the house, leave your dog inside for 15 to 30 minutes and ignore its displays of anxiety. So hopefully the dog will learn that the displays of anxiety will not change your behaviour, hopefully it will learn to be calm, because it learns that being anxious gets them nowhere. I don't think it works. For me, I found that Naga just fought harder and became more anxious to get my attention when I was ignoring her. And my number one method of the 3 is counter conditioning, because it's based solely in positivity and it rewards your dog for positive behavior, for good behavior. It doesn't punish them for bad behavior. But there is one major tip that I want to give you, and this is the one that I found works the most, particularly for Nugs, and that was to get her a companion, which was Ollie, so that she wouldn't be afraid of being alone by herself all day. So Ollie I also adopted from the same charity. I did choose him specifically to suit Naga's needs. So his breed is a deerhound cross, so he's crossed with a greyhound and with an Australian Australian collie. And deerhounds and greyhounds are known for being extremely calm and quite independent and quite intelligent. So I knew that he would be a really good influence over Nugs. And I also needed a puppy so that Naga didn't feel her territory was being challenged and that she could be dominant. And I also needed a male dog. Behaviorally, the best balance to have if you have more than one dog is a male and a female. So I needed a male. So I found Ollie really quickly online on the charity webpage. I picked him because he was from a litter of like 14. He was 8 weeks old and he had the less pink on his nose. All of them had a lot of pink on their noses, and I was afraid of sunburn and sun cancer, so he had the least amount. And then I went to meet him to ensure that his personality would be good and that he got along well with Nugs. And the first thing he did when I picked him up was tuck his little head under my chin and just sink in. And I was like, you're the one. I consciously trained Ollie not to have separation anxiety. So when he was really a young puppy, I'd put him outside for a long period of time. I would give him lots of treats when he went outside by choice, or when he agreed to what I was asking him to do and would go outside. I made sure there were lots of toys out there, and would often try to get Naga to go outside with him, and I would stay out there with Naga so that he learnt that it was a positive experience to be outdoors and it was a positive experience to be away from me. So I was hoping that that would reflect well on Nugs, so that if Ollie would easily go outside and not have any problems, she would kind of learn like, hey, this will be okay. Ollie has, in a sense, become a security blanket for Nugs. So when I'm not there, he's there. And I have noticed that she is more comfortable outside. She still does like scratch at the door or cry at the door if she's been out there for too long, but she will actually go out there for a prolonged period of time without me if Ollie's with her. It's still a struggle to get her outside. I sometimes do have to carry her, but once she's out there, she's happy. She's wagging her tail and running around. So if you're thinking that maybe getting another dog is a good option for you, I definitely recommend it. But ideally, I recommend getting a puppy. An adult dog will be harder. The ideal training period for dogs is between 2 to 6 months old. So if you get an adult dog, it'll be harder to change their behaviours, and they may already have separation anxiety. Plus, it'll challenge your current dog's territory and dominance. So it's easier to get a puppy so that the adult dog doesn't feel as challenged. You don't want to increase their anxiety in their own home. So that was like the golden thing for me. Some quick body language tips. If you're asking your dog to stay in a sit position, look for them lifting their paw or licking their lips. That shows they're starting to become anxious. If your dog's not typically aggressive, look for them raising their shoulders, or they may even give a warning growl. Usually they'll try to walk away first. If they can't leave that stimulus, that's when they become a little bit more aggressive. If your dogs do get into a fight, give them 15 minutes to cool off. Dogs don't hold grudges, so you can put them back together later. That's all the info I have for you today. I really hope it was useful. If you have any other tips, please leave them in the comments below. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Please click like and subscribe, and the bell notifications, and thanks so much for watching.